to communism. The point is that we abolish private property, first of all by collectivizing it all within the power of the state, and then educating the populace, apparently, to no longer needing the state, and the state withers away,
Apparently.
and we're left with our communist utopia.
I don't know if you know this, but socialism is a step towards communism. I don't know. You've heard of this, Marx. And Shoe, please. Shoe, why don't you return my calls? Shoe, please. Don't listen to these evil communists, Shoe. No. Shoe, I can't be on Twitter anymore, Shoe. You can't DM me on Twitter. You might see a tweet or two from Sargon's friend, Sargon's secretary. It's not me. Don't be cheeky now. Oh look, I've gone and spilled some marmalade on myself. Oh no. But Shoe, please, come to Parlor, Shoe. Parlor? If you come to Parlor, Shoe, we're all there. All your friends are there, Shoe. And we're waiting for you. Please. Please, Shoe. I'm sure Sargon of Akkad enjoyed it as well. I guess I didn't know this, that so many of them were watching us, because the Quartering was watching a lot of it. Sargon was watching a lot of it. Short Fat Otaku was watching quite a bit of it, and was making some weird donations that I couldn't really read out loud. But nonetheless, hate donations are donations, and it was nice to get all those. So it was quite the internet affair, to say the least.
So this is a video that I don't relish making, and I'm not trying to cause drama or start arguments or attack anyone.
Okay.
But I really think there is an important conversation that has to be had between ShoeOnHead and my friend Short Fat Otaku. I've known both of these people for a very long time, since Gamergate and probably before, in fact, and I like both of them very much. I really do like both of them. But it's become obvious that ShoeOnHead is becoming radicalized towards communism. And in fact, I, with my burner account on Twitter, had tweeted at her, look, dude, by the end of the year at this rate, you're going to be a communist. And she replied with never, and then deleted that tweet. And all we see now is this...
Never forget, by the way, to the right-winger, anything, I guess, further to the left of a center... Like maybe even a sock dem. That's where it's like, oh no, that's a full on. That's a Marxist Leninist right there. That's a high C communist. Oh yeah. Don't abide by those socialists.
Radical cascade into what appears to be just full communism, and I'm just staggered by it. And it's I don't understand her objection to woke politics without also not being a communist, because woke politics are the apotheosis of communism. They're communism applied to everything.
That's what Marx wrote about.
Possession, no boundary, no stopping.
I haven't seen
something.
Engels' letter about.
And this is something that you
politics,
really should think about. I mean, this is a great example, right? This is where this thread begins, and I'm going to take you through it because it's important. So she says, on Jezebel.com, obviously, the worst of the woke, say, on thinner bodies, the strawberry TikTok dress skews a tiny bit fascist. To which Shoe rightfully says, what? Nonsense take. Absolute nonsense take. I mean, this is the article in question, and it's this bit here. This is the precise sort of dress that Liesel from The Sound of Music would have worn to chase a burgeoning Nazi around a gazebo at night. On thinner bodies, the dress skews a tiny bit fascist. Unreal. Unbelievable. Ridiculous proposition. And so someone replies, can we please leave 2015? Don't forget you're here forever. And this is very 2015 as well. This is an embarrassingly 2015 position to have.
Very communist.
But then Short Fat Otaku's secretary on Twitter says it's also tiresome. I wish America figures out universal healthcare so the rest of the left can be jettisoned into the fucking sun. The socialists, the tankies, the woke scolds, the SJWs, all of them. Yes. I mean, I think that a kind of populist, patriotic left is definitely possible, but that cannot be rooted in Marxism. It cannot be rooted in socialism. And all of these things are. All of these things are rooted in Marxism. And so Shoe says one of these things doesn't belong. No, it does. All of these things belong. Socialism is the root of all of these problems, because socialism, in the modern sense, there in the 18th and 19th centuries, there were pre-Marxist versions of socialism, but Marx has conquered that particular area of debate. All socialism now is essentially Marxism, and any of the socialists that say, "Well, I'm not a Marxist socialist," okay, yeah, you're an irrelevant socialist. No one's listening. But so the sort of secretary said.
So, does everyone understand? Is everyone here paying attention? I hope you understand this, right? There's no such thing as being a socialist unless you're a Marxist socialist. They're all the same thing and yet nothing at the same time. No, so saith me, the true understander of the communists.
Wait a second, Shue.
He's the communist
whisperer. In the Carlin debate, you said you didn't want to dismantle capitalism, just fund a broader safety net with taxes, and I agree with you on that. And I agree with her on that, to a certain extent. There's a deeper conversation. But anyway, have you actually gone full property expropriation? And instead of answering, she says, that doesn't mean the socialists are bad. Now, that's very interesting, isn't it? Have you gone full property expropriation? That doesn't mean the socialists are bad. Well, I can't help but completely agree with Dev's secretary here. It absolutely means the socialists are bad. Dude, the Nazis were like, we're more moral and more deserving of your property because of our race, and the socialists are, we are more moral and more deserving of your property because of our class. They're both evil. Spot on from Dev.
I'll be honest. You do learn things when you check into Sargon streams, and you learn new interpretations of history. That I never would have thought or even ordained to think that someone in this day and age would actually have that interpretation of what happened in World War II. But sure, that's what they've always said, I guess. Because of your class, we deserve your property. I guess, yeah, that's the dictatorship of the bourgeoisie. So here we go.
Spot on. He is. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. He is fantastic. It doesn't matter if individual socialists are friendly people. I'm sure some individual fascists were too. I mean, there are
there's good
Richard
apples.
Spencer. His whole shtick was being polite and debonair and upper class.
Yeah.
It's anyone
and
can put on
and cleansing the races. So there's that. I mean, there was the debonair part too. Sure, he was. He did dress like a Hitler youth. So there's that aspect to it.
Friendly face when dealing with whoever they're dealing with. But as he says, but the hard line of extremism on the right is state worship and racial supremacy, and the hard line of extremism on the left is property expropriation. He's completely correct. Now, he gets into a bit of an exchange with some smooth-brained guy who knows nothing about this, and then asks her about a stream that was done on some small communist channel called the Serfs. He says...
I barely know who they are. I've never heard of them. I did just small little communist nobodies. Off there somewhere. I've never even had any interactions with them. Truly, not entirely sure. Beneath me, to say the very least.
Right before you guys went on the Surf stream and went, "Hi guys, wow, this is cool," they were talking about the revolution, how to kill their opponents, and what to do with the cops afterwards, etc. Me and Dev were watching this together because we couldn't believe just the...
No, I'm not a communist. In fact, it's neat. By the alt-right, I'm being called a communist, which, to be fair, they call everyone a communist who isn't basically a centrist or a liberal. And the tankies are calling me a radlib. So I get to be everything at once and nothing. It's all and nothing. The alpha and the omega. It's neat. You see. But to be totally fair, no, I'm a socialist. I'm a democratic socialist. I want the workers to have the means of their own production, and then I can move towards a utopian ideal eventually. I'd like to have no unjust hierarchies. I think down the road,
stuff that they were saying, and then people like Anthony Fantano went on. Your movie sucks went on, and it's like these guys are openly discussing murder.
To be fair, Anthony Fantano couldn't make it. He was busy, but he would have been. And he's an awesome individual. Love having him on the show. But we didn't bring them on to talk about murdering the bourgeoisie. At least if that conversation happened with YMS, I wasn't there for it. I missed it. I didn't know YMS was quite so radical. He did say he doesn't understand how people can simp for billionaires. And I agree with him. I don't think people should simp for billionaires. So I don't know if that one's quite as spicy.
Murder and Nazi. you're conditioned to be like, look, whoever they're saying is a Nazi is probably not Nazis. It's the ultimate in the boy crying wolf. And that was, totally understandable that Chris Raygun didn't just go, oh yeah, this guy's a Nazi, because you didn't know. I mean, he did sound a bit Nazi-ish now that you think back. But again, once so many people have been...
I mean, once those audio clips leaked, the audio clips of him screaming about how he's like the master race and he was going to dominate everyone, and that he used to lynch their kind back in the day. When those audio tapes leaked, yeah, it was a little bit more apparent that he was in fact a Nazi, like he'd been saying. I mean, the whole "Hail Trump" thing didn't really tip us off. The whole doing the Hitler salute while saying "Hail Trump," there was no real, how would we know? That could mean a lot of things. It could be taken one way or another. There's just no way of knowing. But the audio tapes, that was a bad look. I'll give you that one.
Been accused of being a Nazi for such a long period of time. It's crying wolf. You have to take this.
Except in the case where it turned out that he was entirely a Nazi.
The case with Richard Spencer.
Yeah.
But it's also the case that the socialists are bad. Like people like Vorsch, people like the Serfs. These are people who will kill people if given the opportunity. I mean, they...
Wow, that ramped up fast. That's definitely what the stream is known for. This is the real kill stream, brother. The literal kill stream. I can't wait for the opportunity. It's a good thing I've never been allowed outside, because oh my, the dangers. We're like, it would be nice if we just had more equity, and it would be nice if we had like democracy in the workplace. I just don't like the idea of the employer-employee dynamic. Like, I've worked in it my whole life. I've even been like, I've managed small teams before in the special effects world. It's just it's a gross setup. It'd be cool if everyone had like equal share and they could vote on what their company does, and they don't have to worry about losing healthcare and being fired because a machine replaces them. That's usually the crux of what I talk about. And then after a couple Courvoisiers, yes, the stream does turn a little blue. I guess that's anything goes. After 7.
Talking about it, I'll get some clips and put them in so you can see exactly the sort of thing they're saying.
So there's this one thing that I have been thinking.
Neat. So the first clip you're using doesn't even have me on the screen. So that's starting out strong, but cool. Maybe I'm just hovering behind the camera, like telling Dave what to do. Like, talk about the socialist revolution and all the murders. Talk about the murder sprees. Come on, you know what you got to do here, Dave. Talk about the murder sprees.
Thinking about a lot in terms of like abolition, and I guess like a just transition out of policing in general, but like not just in a way that like, oh, I want like former killer cops to just like, have a easy life afterwards, after we like defund and abolish all of that, but just more like, what do we do with people who have like the skills and the tactics to be a roving murder gang when they're not employed as police? Where does that factor into discussions of abolition? But I feel like that's pretty spicy because people don't want to think about cop.
And like, that's not cancelable for me. That's just real talk.
Yeah, that's sensible. I mean,
your superpower is invisibility.
The one reason
Why
that
did
I'm
you
not
hide this from us?
Abolition is what will we do with the cops?
Thanks, Dr. Gamble.
It's a fair question.
I'm a little nervous to ask it sometimes, especially on Twitter, because it's definitely not a place that's known for nuance. And I don't really like typing out like all the things that I'm thinking. But yeah, it's just something that I'm like, wait, have we thought about the other end of I'm nervous to ask it sometimes, especially on Twitter, because it's definitely not a place that's known for nuance. And I don't really like typing out like all the things that I'm thinking. But yeah, it's just something that I'm like, wait, have we thought about the other
Abolish
end of,
capital.
Other end of these
Thank
things?
Because
with revolution, there's always counter-revolution. So, and I'm nervous because we're not a solid, I guess, we're not a solid group with ammunition and tactics and training where, if if we needed
Not
to
yet.
defend ourselves. Right, not yet. Yes, I want to make that clear, not yet. But I just like, I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for it.
In my immediate vision. So I'm wondering like how does that even happen? I think that's the cancelable part. Is just like I might sound a little defeatist.
I guess from like the perspective of like where I sit politically, I don't necessarily think that's a defeatist attitude. I think that's a pretty like legitimate question. I think a lot of people do tend to get caught up in the sort of like
the people are asking who's talking. That's Dominique Simone, who is a black woman in the United States who is producing a film under the banner of Canary Films about how the treatment of black women, especially pregnant black women in the United States, is obviously very, very tough as a result of the differences in the healthcare system for both white and black Americans. And yes, talking about defunding the police. I've yet to hear the part where she's calling for calls to action. Everything there, like, I thought you could have found much spicier takes here, especially ones. Well, again, I'm doing the puppet master thing off screen, so that you got me there.
World of like what it is to like do the armed thing, or to do like an insurrection, or to like be like anti this, anti that, and not actually like ask, well, like we have people within our society that are important. Like, what do we do with them, or like what can we do? And so I don't think that's cancelable. I think that's a very reasonable thing. And I think people just need to have this conversation. I think a lot of people personally are just uncomfortable with revolution, like in general. Because like there are people that are going to lose more. Like even like we see this at protests, right? So like you'll have like white people protesting, but then like if there are like people like BIPOC people at the same protest, they're going to get like higher forms of reciprocity than like white protesters. So you have to like consider like, is your activities going to get like those more vulnerable populations like in trouble? So yeah, it's just the nature of that. So yeah, I don't think it's cancelable. I think it's reasonable.
Oh, well, validation.
Yeah, I feel like that's like, like a big thing. Like I know friends who will like talk about like revolution as if it's like, yeah, no, like this will be like an easy thing to like get like so many people on board with, as if it's hard for like left-wing candidates to even get like elected, let alone like how many people do you think are actually willing to die in a civil war to fight for those, let alone like if they aren't even voting for them. Like it is such a far away goal that not that it's like wrong to want to like be thinking about that, but also to like act as if that's like a far gone like easy thing that we'll get to in any reasonable amount of time, I think is very unrealistic.
It's actually incredible that a bunch of people
Oh, that was it. Oh, wow. Okay, first off, Sargon, I'll just do a quick plug. You should watch some people like Kamazot's Alter, or maybe I don't know, Trashcan 1312. You'll get a lot spicier takes. You'll have a lot more fun. You'll get a lot more ammunition, because then you can be like, oh, the radical left. Well, sorry, actually.
Oh no, radical left. Oh yes, they're talking about responsible gun ownership. There's an actual socialist rifle association. Yes, so no, that's right. Where they have rifles and they associate with one another. It's quite strange. Quite strange, yes.
But that was it. The conversation went from I would like to see a defunding of the police, because I don't think the resources being allocated towards the police is utilized in a way in which it actually benefits my community, and I would like to see something change there. Again, from a black activist saying that to a couple other individuals saying, well, I would consider armed revolution, but then We're in Hell ended it with saying, well, I don't think people take a lot of that seriously, because at the end of the day, how many people who are on the quote-unquote left are interested in even being a part of a violent revolution, let alone one that's like a civil war? That was the conversation that was had. At no point did one of them to say like, and we'd like to direct advocate for violence against the state, and that's why this is brought to you by the State Shadow Legends, Raid 1712, use promo code 1312.
are getting on board with murderous extremists who actually have the intention of overthrowing capitalism, taking everyone's property, and making us all serfs of the state. That is literally what a socialist government does. It removes your property rights. So it removes your ability to have an income independent of the government. The socialist one-party dictatorship government. And they will determine every economic aspect of your life from this point onwards. This is awful. Awful in every...
Did you get your lessons in history from like a menu in Denny's? Like, is that what this is? Is it just like going through it and be like,
oh, what do I see here? Oh, a grand slam. A grand slam, you say? Well, that sounds quite nice. But, Stalin also performed quite a grand slam on, I don't know, 1 trillion people or so. So maybe, I don't know, vis-a-vis the transitive property, that could be what we're seeing here. That's communism. That's what communism wants to do.
Every fucking way. And so when Shoe's just like, well, the socialists, that doesn't mean socialists are bad. No, that does mean socialists are bad. That's why people flee socialist countries. Socialism is not universal healthcare. That's not what it means. The Scandinavian countries are not socialist. European countries are not socialist. You don't win in these countries by calling yourself a socialist. Jeremy Corbyn had a landslide defeat from calling himself a socialist. Socialists are something abstract, ideological, revolutionary, and
he's
dangerous.
not wrong.
The
Those are
20th century has shown us this. Socialism is the most dangerous thing that humanity has ever created, and you're accidentally falling into it.
The most dangerous thing humanity's ever created. Wow. Ooh, that's intense.
Because these assholes on the radical left are love bombing you and saying, well, this is the only way you're going to get universal healthcare. It's the only way. No, it's not the only way you're going to get universal healthcare. Like, all of Europe didn't become socialist, and we still have universal healthcare. This is not the only way to do things, and I don't think it's going to get done. I think that Donald Trump's going to win significantly.
See, I cracked the code. When it's abject poverty and eating rats, that's socialism. All right, but when it's social programs that benefit people, that's Europe. That's the difference. So just so you get the difference between the two.
Because of this sort of slide towards the radical left. But dude, you've got to ask yourself, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? What are you trying to go for? I mean, ask them honestly what they want, what their ideal world looks like.
You'll get a lot of different answers, but I'll tell you this: none of them are going to tell you that my ideal world is the guns and the bang bang and explosions. That's what we want. That's what the anarchists want. All of us, we just want to go wild into the streets and blow things up and riot. It's just like the movie you saw. Joker. Have you seen Joker? Yeah, we're all Joker. We're Joker-fied. That's what everyone wants.
I tell you what, man, it's going to involve guillotines, which is what we're seeing in Portland, the most radical expression of socialism. Because, and I have to stress this, Marx thought socialism was merely a step on the way to communism. The point is that we abolish private property, first of all by collectivizing it all within the power of the state, and then educating the populace, apparently, to no longer needing the state, and the state withers away,
apparently,
and we're left with our communist utopia.
I don't know if you know this, but socialism is a step towards communism. I don't know. You've heard of this, Marx.
And Shoe, please. Shoe, why don't you return my calls? Shoe, please, don't listen to these evil communists, Shoe. No. Shoe, I can't be on Twitter anymore, Shoe. You can't DM me on Twitter. You might see a tweet or two from Sargon's friend, Sargon's secretary. It's not me. Don't be cheeky now. Oh look, I've gone and spilled some marmalade on myself. Oh no. But Shoe, please, come to Parlor, Shoe. Parlor? If you come to Parlor, Shoe, we're all there. All your friends are there, Shoe. And we're waiting for you. Please, Shoe. So much marmalade.
When nobody owns any of this. And they're burning an American flag, man. Are you on board with people who burn American flags?
The Communist Revolution of France.
Are you in favor of lighting the symbol of your country on fire? What? And it's
aren't you a classical liberal? Isn't that how you identify yourself as a class? Like, have you even read John Locke? Do you know what the Enlightenment was?
The flag itself, who gives a fuck? They're burning the flag. They're burning the symbolism of it. They're burning what it represents, which is individual liberty, your personal rights, and part of your rights is owning your property. I mean, do you think your property should be appropriated? Do you think it should be taken away from you? Can you find a way to defend the United States of America at this point? That's what you have to ask yourself. And if you can't, why not? As the United States never done anything good. You've got to really ask yourself where you're going with this. Because I'm looking at, this is not the person I knew from back in the day, man. Like, the things that you're on board with, and the people you're hanging around. Like, the Serfs are totally in favor of this, right? They're totally in favor of all this. Vorsh is in favor of all this. Like, this is...
Okay, first off, you acted as if you'd never heard about my channel, and that's strange because again, you know who I am. I'm the F word. You know me. I'm that little Canadian F word. Oh, and yeah, you seem to know about it now. You could watch a little bit more though, Sargon. Yeah, and also we could just talk. We could just have a conversation because I've been trying for a while. I reached out to Modern Day Debates. I reached out to you on Twitter. I reached out to your friends on Twitter as well. But it's been a little bit of radio silence. So we could always just have a conversation and maybe I could tell you what I think.
Or we could ask Shoe. Maybe Shoe knows. I don't know. But is she going to come back? I'm not sure.
And it's one of those things I'm getting really concerned about because this is craziness and it is leading to the end of your republic. I know you might be, that's hyperbolic. When Donald Trump gets a landslide win in November, because nobody's voting for the left with this kind of imagery being plastered everywhere, when he gets that landslide win, I mean, after the George Floyd protests, riots, burnings, lootings, shootings, murders that occurred because of a false narrative about George Floyd. When Trump wins,
wait, what?
Again, in November, from a bigger margin, what do you think these people are going to do? It's not going to look pretty, is it? And you're putting your name to this when you get into bed with the socialists. And the socialists aren't bad. They're bad. They're bad people, mate. They're really bad people. And I don't think you're a bad person. Anthony Fantano, I don't think you're a bad person either. Your movie sucks. I know as a good person. I've been watching his channel for years. He's awesome. And it's weird how they all go.
This is beautiful. This is like, you can see it in real time. You can, oh man. Come on. Hold on.
And is this your girlfriend, Ralph?
Yes, I love Lisa Simpson, and when I grow up, I'm going to marry her. No! Now you listen to me. I don't like you. I never liked you. And the only reason I gave you that stupid Valentine is because nobody else would.
Watch this, Lise. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half. And now.
Okay, so for posterity, take that. Yeah. We got him.
To our God, I'm Ra. We pray at your altar of awesomeness. To our monarch, Thomas Bone, you are the light that guides our path. To our lords, Jeffrey Lamb, Stephen, Ninetails Cosmic Fox, Hans Josephine, and Poppy Nelson, we bow meekly for your pleasure. To our Knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Dylan Byte, Alexander Thaler, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Clement Chutzkoff, Skybear Games, Moss Beast, Political Puppy, Ali Menthol, Jimmy Big Nuts, Alan R., Andreas Chitoro, Good Poon Hates Cops, That's Solid Poon Man, and Bryn, we salute you. And to our many merchants and farmers, you have our undying love